Hello, everyone. Welcome back to A Court of Swords. It's week, Max, you said 19?
Yeah.
Is that right? I think it's 19.
I went off of the YouTube VODs that you were putting up. So
That's got to be right then. Yeah, 19.
It's
Sean will return next week, so that means that we've got some work to do or something, or Adam's got to weave a tale that makes sense. I don't know.
Get on the railroad, boys.
Yeah, the clock is ticking.
Shit's going in one direction. Oh, you don't want to go on the quest? Well, tough shit. The quest comes to you.
Hey guys, you want to go check out that necromancer
Nope.
tower back in the beginning? We can probably take it now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The old god teleports you there.
exactly. Yeah, you go through the left door, you come out the right door. Weird.
Yeah. We'll get to the story stuff soon, at least. Max, I do want to inform you. Remember that ear stuff that we both had?
yeah, you got that going on right now,
I've got it going on right now.
dude. I had a scare.
Dude, I'm so nervous that this is gonna last anot's month, and I'm so
I had a
pissed off.
scare right before the live show, like right
Yeah.
before I came there. It did that, and I was able to dislodge whatever
Yeah.
stuff. You can elaborate if you want because it sounds
Yeah,
really
it
weird.
sounds really weird when we're just like the ear stuff. We don't want to talk.
You know that ear stuff that happened.
Me and Max both have this weird thing when we get colds or when there's a lot of sinus pressure or something like that, that our ears clog up to where we could still hear out of them, but everything's like muffled. It's like you're wearing headphones 24/7 for any audio coming in. So right now, my left ear, I just can't hear much like bass. I can hear noise,
Yeah.
but it really throws you off. It really sucks too. Because if you do this, you can feel the fluid in your inner ear move, and you can actually open it up, and it really sucks.
Yeah,
There's
you
really
can get,
nothing you can do.
To solve the blockage or whatever. Earwax usually is what it is.
Yeah.
Basically, if it's really for persist, you got to go to a doctor and flush the shit out of your ear. Don't you smile, Adam. This is a thing that afflicts a lot of
Yeah.
people throughout the nation and the world.
I mean, I believe you. It's just
Most,
you.
It's really fucking annoying.
yeah.
Tell
yeah.
me more.
Most, at least the doctors that I've been to, they won't actually do anything. They'll just give you some medicine and say, hey, this will take like a week to work. And you have to just deal with
Just
it.
get one of those. Just get one of those compressed air things everybody's got lying around. Just blast that in there. You'll be fine.
I thought about it.
Don't do that, everybody at home.
Blast your ear full of air chemicals.
Never do that. You will die.
But yeah, it really sucks. So that's what, at least I'm feeling better. There is like a literal record amount of cedar in South Texas in the air, like historical, never been this high before ever. So everyone in South Texas is basically have some sort of a cold right now if you're allergic to cedar on any level.
like pollen.
Yeah,
Or
yeah, like pollen. Yeah,
dander, whatever the fuck it is.
yeah, it's like
Oh,
historically high.
Danders from animals.
It is. That's why I retracted the statement. Also, with you around, I'm pretty sure you're gonna fact check. You're like, actually,
That's Adam. That's Adam.
me.
So yeah, I'm still kind of getting over the cold, but the voice seems to be normalized for the most part. But Max, how you been? How was your New Year's?
it was good. It was pretty good. I just streamed right through it. I went so far as to get some stock footage for a countdown and a 2017 thing behind me. So I was
How was
like,
that?
I felt like who's the guy that casted New Year's Forever that doesn't anymore?
Bob
He's
Hope.
really old now.
Dick Clark?
Yeah, I felt like him a little bit on Twitch. No, it was fun. I casted and surprise, played a bunch of H1.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I did that. Last thing I played recently was Batman. Going back into that episode 3. Episode 3 really fucking ramps up.
Oh yeah, I finished that over the past
I'll be
week.
finishing that in the next few days here, and then I may or may not be getting sick. I don't know what it is, but I feel a little bit, kind of like out of it. But I'm still okay. It's just like that weird feeling in your throat a little bit, and
Yep.
I was sleeping extra hard this morning, like a lot more than I. You know what I mean? When your body's fighting something, you just want to sleep. Like it felt kind of like that.
Yep.
But I'm drinking a bunch of vitamin C and stuff. I'm okay right now. Good enough for the show, but
Yeah.
we'll see how much it actually affects me. But
Check
other than
in
that,
again-
yeah,
check
just
in
been
again
planning on
next
getting back to
week for
California.
how's Max feeling?
What's that?
That's
Health
true.
report with GassyMexican.
A lot of people are sick, man. One of them being Adam Goebel. You're
Yeah.
sick. You got a
I'm
cold.
I'm the fucking Walking Dead right now.
You're
Yeah.
sick too?
Yeah, I'm really sick.
Dan, you better be careful.
I've buried my illness under a giant pile of drugs, so I'm here to GM
Good.
as soon as this is
Nice.
over. So going to turn to dust and blow away.
What works for you? What drugs work for you? Because I'm on the NyQuil hype right now.
Yeah,
that's in the pill form. It's great.
I've just been dual wielding the day and NyQuil.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
Yep.
They make a quality product over there at the Quill Company.
Yep.
Get a sponsorship, yeah. This episode of Court of Swords sponsored by
every stream. I just like take a shot of NyQuil and just see where the stream takes me. Exactly.
My name is Volnok, and I get sick from goblins. Make me sick, and you know what else makes me sick? Regular illnesses.
Yeah, you meet a noble NPC, Lord Quill of House Quill.
Yeah. What else you been up to, Adam?
Thinking nothing, man. I spent the whole weekend like semi-conscious, just like watching Mad Men and trying not to die. Which is
that's a good show to binge.
Yeah, Man. I've watched it 3 times now. I'm like most of the way through my 4th watch. It's too good. It's too good. There's always something new every time I watch it. That Don Draper, man, this shit's so good.
Yeah,
I'm Mad Men. I never went through all of that.
Really, it gets the later episodes. I think are better than the beginning episodes.
It does an amazing job of both portraying. It takes essentially a decade of time. It takes the 60s, but it shows how like the beginning of the show is still like kind of the 50s, and the end of the show is kind of the 70s, and it's not as jarring as like when Downton Abbey jumps forward in time. They're like, it's the 20s now. Fucking pay attention. It's different. But in Mad Men, it's so gradual that you're like, wait a second. Does Pete Campbell have giant sideburns now? When did that happen? What's going on? And like watching the characters and the culture around them change so gradually over time, it's magnificently well done.
It's a really good show.
Yeah. I feel like that's a tough thing to do, like a bunch of different minute changes that kind of eventually, like as a whole, you're like, oh,
yeah. That and I remember I think it was I don't know where I read it, but someone who was in the ad agency world in those days was asked, like, did you guys actually drink that much? Like, was there that much alcohol? And he said it was about 30 times worse, or like some magnitude worse, where people would just have alcohol in their drawers like they do in the show, and you'd come in for a morning and you'd just have a glass of scotch.
Well, it's a thing. Like, yeah, every time there's an interaction between 2 characters, the etiquette is that you offer them a drink. And so if you're meeting with 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 or 12 people a day, by the end of the day, you're like, cool. Well, there goes a bottle of rye. Gotta get a different one for tomorrow.
Right.
Like, because it's not even so much that they're like intentionally sitting around drinking and smoking. It's that like that's the thing you do in adjacency with like every other thing.
Yeah. That was like the culture. That was like a part of like social etiquette, I guess, of like having meetings amongst the people, your peers and stuff.
Yeah, there was a great comment where it was like, how do you think we came up with shit like the Jolly Green Giant? It's because we were drunk off our asses 24/7. So if you go back and look at like the old ad campaigns, you're like, yeah, no, you had to be on something to make that crazy shit up.
there was a moment that I think that like anybody, like whatever job you do, if you ever had to do anything like creative, like come up with ideas, there was a moment in an episode I watched recently where one of the characters, they're working on this campaign and they're staying up late trying to work on it, and this guy they get kind of drunk. One of the characters has this really great idea. He never says what it is. You just like you watch him have this revelation, and he goes back to his office and he passes out on his couch, and he wakes up the next morning and he's like, oh no, and he's like searching for it and write it down, and he's just like lost the idea. And it's the way that whole moment is portrayed is just so painful. Like that the writers who wrote that episode have had that happen to them. It's just little tiny things like that throughout the show that make it feel like it feels really human, which is the thing I really like about all the characters feel like people.
Definitely.
It's super cool. Yeah. So thankfully that I had some time to watch that while I was like delusional and all flued out. But
yeah, maybe I'll rewatch that show. I just finished Travelers on Netflix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw you tweeting about that. What's the deal with that?
I can't. It's one of those shows. It's kind of like Mr. Robot in the sense where if you say anything, it spoils kind of what the show is about. But I mean, Travelers are basically people sent from the future to fix humanity so that in the future it's not going to die out.
Right.
And the way they handle the show is just passively say things like, "Man, that's a goat. I'm vegan. Like I can't eat that goat, Like we haven't seen meat in years, and you're just like, why haven't you seen meat? And they don't say why. They don't explain any of this shit. But it's really cool because they keep doing that throughout the course of the show. I'm not finished with it yet, but they have some like major, just passive, casual conversation lore drop, and you're like, all right, that's pretty cool. I'm into that.
Yeah,
So.
implicit setting building is so powerful. It's way better to get your audience to imagine the setting than to be like, here it is. I'm gonna lay this shit out for you. Here's 20 minutes of exposition. It's better to just be like, where did the meat go? What's that about? And have the people watching figure it out for themselves as they.
Yeah, that's great. It's on Netflix for those that
Think about no meat, JP. Think about the lack of sous vide.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't sous vide a broccoli.
You know, I'd
Guys,
probably
it's
be a
sous vide
lot.
potato.
I'd probably be a lot healthier, Max, if there was no meat around.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I think we all probably would.
How did those ribs turn out?
So good.
The ribs turned out not like they were fine. They were perfectly edible. They tasted perfectly cooked, but I only put salt and pepper and liquid smoke on it, which is like this weird thing where they basically go and collect smoke from like a smoke machine that turns in like that evaporates and then collect it and give it to you in liquid form, and you're supposed to like use it in sous vide machines or things where you don't actually have a smoke machine to or a smoker to cook meat. But it just didn't have enough flavor. So I think next time I do it, I'm actually going to follow a recipe and you know, like put an actual crust on the ribs.
Well,
or
until
some
then,
sort of
you've
seasoning.
kind of just been doing really basic stuff with it, and it's come out really good. So
Yeah.
think
Like the
you're
meat,
just
the actual the process of sous videing it and the meat of everything is fine. The quality of the meat and the cook of the meat is fine. I just need to work on seasoning. So we did the prime rib as well, which turned out great. I didn't cook it long enough, so we had to finish in the broiler. I only did it for I think like 7 hours, and it was like still breathing. Like it was that rare. It wasn't that cooked. So we had to put it in the oven for a little bit on the broiler. But yeah, it came out fine.
Savage.
Yeah. We put a lot of salt and pepper on it, and it actually came out really good. I actually was pretty happy with that.
Nice.
You haven't lived until you've sous vide an entire living cow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm. The next time
It
we
has to suffocate in the bag and then
like
pour
some,
it.
for some
was-
live show in the future, there's just a giant bin with a whole cow in there. Like, what's up, guys? Yeah, this cow.
like the goat in Jurassic
All the
Park.
flavors, the skin of the whole cow. Once you break the seal, I've been told.
You really gotta lock in the terror.
You know, lock in the terror and the flavor.
Get those fear vibes.
Yeah. No, I was reading I got interested in like what is the longest like sous vide thing or cook process that you can do. And a brisket can apparently go for 36 hours, I think is what it said.
Jesus.
And then I learned that if you put ping pong balls in the water, it doesn't evaporate. So I went and bought 48 ping pong balls, and that's how I cooked the ribs for 12 hours, is because I put the ping pong balls in there and the water didn't evaporate.
Is it because the water because it sticks to the surface of the ping pong balls
And the
then
ball just
takes
rotates.
back in?
Yeah.
Huh? That's so smart.
Yeah. I was like,
Look at
all
that.
right.
Fucking science, yo.
It was really weird because when I was at the grocery store, I was like buying all this meat and all this like cooking stuff. And
That's
then
weird
48
cooking.
ping pong balls.
Yeah, I'm
And the
playing
red-
meat pong later.
Yeah. And the cash register is like, why are you buying ping pong balls? And I was like, oh, well, you know, it helps. I had to explain the whole process of evaporation and how it helps. And he's like, huh. All right. I didn't even know that, but thank you. So it was fun.
That
I
is
went-
weird.
Yeah.
You look. I mean, sous videing any sort of meat looks kind of weird. More like a laboratory experiment.
Oh, dude, the craziest thing was on Christmas Day when we had all the family over here. It was like, I don't know, 20 people of all ages, mostly older people that, you know, were really confused by my house because I had like this giant PC set up and like all this too. And they walk in and they're like, what is that? I'm like, oh, it's a sous vide thing. You mean you're cooking? Yeah. Huh. And then over the course of the night, I was like, all right, I'm gonna put a steak in so you guys can see how this works. And there was like 15 people of like 60 years and older staring at me as I put this meat in the bag, vacuum sealed it, and then dipped it into the water and said I was done. And they're just like, huh.
Listen, this is the
It's
thing.
really
if you
odd.
Can, if you can figure out how to make all the shit that we need to use to get the fucking show live you can make a steak. Like the contrast and difficulty, huge.
It was really funny because it was like my grandmother, who's like 87. My grandfather, it's like 91 or 90 or something like that. It's just like, you mean you're going to cook it in water? How does that work? I was like, I don't know. I don't know how it works. It's magic. It's science.
Nobody of our generation knows how to do anything anymore, but we know how to look shit up on the internet.
Exactly.
So we don't need to know how it works. Like, it works because this YouTube video told me that it's going to work.
Yeah. And then it was funny. I think it was my uncle that said this. After I did, he's like, well, that's cheating. I'm not going to eat that. He walked out of the room. It was like disgusted that I was doing that instead of like cooking it on a grill somewhere. It was great.
Yeah, but if you went to a really nice 4-star, 5-star restaurant,
that's what they do.
What they're doing.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't want to tell him that because then he wouldn't go out anymore. But yeah, it was good times. So I'll keep sous vide in 2017. I'll get better at it. People are like asking for a cooking stream, but it'd be like so stupid.
It would literally be a stream of watching water boil.
Yeah.
So, I mean, cool. Free ad revenue.
Maybe I'll get a sous vide cam if I can find like 100-foot HDMI cable to just run it into that room and just put it in the corner of my stream or something.
Sous vide cam.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I know enough about you, JP, to know that it wouldn't just stop at 100-foot HDMI cable. You buy a new camera, you buy some new lights.
I would definitely buy some new lights. I'd have to buy a new camera.
Yeah, exactly. Got to buy yourself.
I mean, if I don't buy a new camera, then I have to buy a laptop to put in there to use a webcam with, so that I could feed that. Yeah, so.
Exactly. See,
You would figure out a way to put the camera inside the water somehow.
I'd get a GoPro and get a
I don't know what the heat tolerance is on the GoPro, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the heat tolerance is.
you haven't lived till you've sous vide a camera.
I'd have to.
It's a nice camera, but how far underwater and how much temperature?
Actually, here's how I do it. I would either get the GoPro and see what the heat temperature is of that, or I would get a drone and have it fly over the sous vide thing for 5 or 6 hours in place. Yeah. So there you go. That's what we'll do.
Do you have a jib shot for your sous vide cam? No, that's a drone. That's a drone.
Yeah.
It's flying over.
I got the controller right here. It's a drone. See, and just tweak it a little bit to the left. Yeah. We could do it. Mr. DansGaming, how's 2017 rather treating you so far?
Good so far. Since we're listing shows we've been watching, I just finished watching all of the shows Cheers on Netflix.
Oh, they have Cheers on Netflix? Wow.
I saw you tweeting about Cheers. You were bringing up some cogent points about Sam and how he's not as attractive as the show acts like he is.
Yeah, I feel like they had a different actor in mind for the character, and then they got stuck with him. So it just didn't quite. He's all right, but he's not a great looker. I don't know how these women find him so attractive, but yeah. But yeah,
Danson? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
There's 11 seasons, so it was a beefy watch.
Holy shit!
Yeah, but then afterwards, I've been now watching Frasier because Frasier's.
I was about to say, dude, you do the spinoff? Because I think most people probably, unless they watch Cheers like when it was on TV, I think most people don't realize that Cheers and Frasier are the same. Like it's
yeah.
Same
I didn't know that
Some
until someone.
too.
Yeah.
In episodes of Frasier, like they'll bring back some of the characters and stuff.
Yeah, it was fun to go back and watch Frasier say things like, "Yeah, my father died when I'm like, wait, what? He's alive in your series, the spinoff, what?" And all these things that weren't quite the same on the
true.
show. But yeah, it was funny just going back and watching the evolution of the Frasier character over time.
Man,
you just said it's true. Did you just realize now, JP, that was the spinoff?
No. I was saying about what Dan just said regarding his father and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't know it was a spinoff until that's probably sometime last year, if not the year before. I didn't put that together that was a spinoff of a Cheers character.
Yeah, they definitely make it so you don't have to have any knowledge of Cheers to enjoy Frasier.
Yeah,
it definitely lives on its own for sure. Like, there's no real Also, yeah, this is Cheers. Like, they don't beat you over the head with it. It's just like, hey, it's Frasier.
yeah. So,
I love that show though. Shit's good.
That show was always not interesting to me because I was not of the age to watch it when it came out. Like I was like 13. I was like, "Where's Simpsons? Give me the Rugrats!" Like what?
Yeah.
What is all this shit? And then I've just never had interest to go back and watch it.
I think the Simpsons thing is the connection for me too. Like I remember watching Cheers as a kid, like with my parents, but only because it gave me context for all the dumb Cheers jokes they made about Moe's in the Simpsons. Because like it comes up a bunch in the early thing. Because I think
Yeah.
when people think of like a TV show set in a bar in that time, like Cheers was the thing. It's not like it was a normal like thing, and so Moe's was patterned after it in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Also, Kirstie Alley was in Star Trek, which was a thing that I was like, hey, I know her. She's a Vulcan.
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess that's right. I need to sit down and watch all of the Next Generation.
she was Saavik in Wrath of Khan.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that at all.
I think she played somebody else too. Like I think because Star Trek does that, right? Where they hire an actor and then they'll put them in two different roles over time, and you're like, wait a second, is this the same character as? But
They will. No. They do that a lot.
they
Yeah.
do it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, they find actors they like and they reuse them.
All of Next Generation's on Netflix, right?
I think so.
Okay.
I remember
Yeah, Next Generation, all on Netflix.
Is it-
If you've
is it
never
like-
gone through?
No, I've never watched
Watch.
all of it. No.
Fucking do it. The first step. I mean, the first season, like most shows or whatever, it's
Everyone said to skip the first season.
you could do that. Honestly, you could. There's some good story stuff in there. I guess if you like, I don't know. There's some stuff they throw back to, but most of the episodes of Star Trek Next Generation are pretty contained little stories, and then they have little throwbacks to things. Every now and then they'll go back to be like, remember this shit happening? Now this is happening, like that kind of.
It super depends on the season because like once they introduced the Borg, it became very like meta plotty and kind of like, okay, the Borg is like a recurring continual thing. But yeah, the sort of mid-season like one-off stuff is still some of the best TV ever like released. Like Darmok, probably my
Darmok.
favorite episode.
Yeah, very good.
Fantastic episode.
Angelad at Tanagra.
Darmok and the one where Picard gets zapped by the
Inner light.
satellite.
The Inner Light is the name of the episode, Adam. It's fantastic. I just watched it the other day.
It's such a good episode.
There are 4 lights.
Yep, that's a good one too. Basically, any Picard or Data episode is just gold.
Oh yeah,
The Inner Light is way up there. I think that's widely regarded as one of the best episodes by much of the fandom.
I also love the episode where the AI in the holodeck becomes self-aware, and it was they were in a Sherlock, and it was
The Moriarty one? Yeah.
The Moriarty one. Yep.
so many like morality conflicts about this thing that feels it's alive but it's not, and it can't leave the holodeck. It was a great episode.
Captain, find out how I will leave the holodeck.
I need to watch all those. We rewatched. I've seen them before, obviously, when they came out in the theaters, but that was the last time I saw them, so I rewatched all the Harry Potter films. Those things get dark. Like around the fourth one, the Goblet movie, you're just like, wait a minute. This last 20 minutes is so dark, and then after that, it's just like, well, death and destruction for the next 4 films.
That's the one where Cedric Diggory eats it, right? And everyone's sad.
Yeah.
Oh, spoilers!
Yeah. At the very end, it happens, and I'm just like, right. I remember this.
No, it gets fucking dark.
Yeah. And then like that's what I was watching them with Aaron, and I was like, wait, they're not even. Why aren't they celebrating? Like he just won. Like there's not even like a high five with anyone. They're just like, and these are the dead people. And I'm like, okay, thanks Harry Potter. And then they do that terrible cheesy fucking wrap up where they show the very last minute they show like the future. And that was kind of dumb. But all in all, I'm glad to have watched it. It was still good.
We just have a show where we just talk about Star Trek Next Generation because I.
Yeah, have you done a Star Trek fandom yet?
I haven't. Is there another?
Realizing that I'm actually a massive Star Trek.
Yeah, Max is getting excited.
Yeah. Is there? I'm trying to think if there's like a big Star Trek thing coming up.
The new TV show, but that won't be for a while.
And it won't be for a little while, but that is coming out. Yeah. Have they talked about? I haven't delved into like the information with that. Have they talked about where it's going to be?
Last I heard, they had canned whatever the showrunner was that they had originally planned to have, and they were trying to find or had just found another one.
Yeah, I haven't followed that at all. So
That's really
that's enough about the Next Generation. Though, let's talk about our current world, our current setting in the Court of Swords, because we just finished a fight where we almost died, like we always do.
like usual.
Yeah.
I tamed like a boss last episode. Just when I was
Yes,
like a boss.
Hella use of that dodge action. Yeah. So the group of you had set out to to find this this dark influence in the valley, the reason that you've been set here. Raziel pursuing this source of power, both for his elder god, and then also on the behest of the fountain itself, accompanied by his two guardians, Volnak and Azrael. And then you made a friend with a dwarf lady, and then you made some enemies of some bandits, and then you made corpses out of them.
That's true.
You're on your way. You're on your way to the valley, being led kind of just by like a sense of being like pulled towards this source of power. But when we fade in on y'all, you're in the valley, kind of still in the sparsely treed area leading into the deeper woods, and there are a bunch of bandit corpses strewn about. I don't know that you know much more about the situation than that, right? Like, you saw them in the town, you saw them in the monastery, but the ones that pursued you, you don't know if that's all of them or what the deal is. But you've put an end to this batch. Do you do anything with the bodies? Do you just leave them where they lay and take off? Two of you are pretty badly injured, right?
Yeah, I think I got fucked up in that one. I dropped, right? And then
I'm the only one at full HP. You guys are very low.
Yeah, we're both at brink of death.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 and 3 hit points right now, I think.
Right.
I think we definitely loot the bodies, though.
Yeah. We'll start looting. And I guess a question about the world, Adam. What do people normally do with dead bodies in these types of encounters? Like,
well, I mean, so you're first of all, you're in an area of the world in which the legal jurisdiction is a question rather than a statement.
right.
These people, unless they've been officially like made outlaw, are citizens probably of the Court of Coins. So you've murdered them. They are dead, which is whatever. That's a thing that happens.
Yeah, murder happens or death happens. Yeah.
People die, and they did kind of attack you. So you're probably not in too much worry of like being pursued for this crime. But as for bodies, generally, like once someone dies of whatever means, the body is simply it's a shell, right? There's nothing in it anymore. Different cultures have different rituals that they follow. Some keep the body around for a period of mourning or viewing as a symbol of respect to the recently dead. Others commit them to the fire right away because the body is no more than a vessel for the soul. One hopes that these bandits will rejoin the great wheel of creation, and upon being reincarnated, will do better next time. But maybe not. Maybe they'll be reincarnated as slugs or something.
Right.
But, yeah,
slugs that have little faces on them, eh?
Yeah, that's true.
One hopes not. But yeah, it would depend. The appropriate thing to do, if you really cared about giving them a proper burial or whatever, the appropriate thing to do would be to find their people, right? Find their kin and let them know that they're dead and let them handle it, or at least that way you would know what the appropriate ritual is. Or you could guess.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
That's a lot of work.
That is a lot of work.
Yeah.
But for these guys,
yeah, we probably wouldn't do that. But I figure, I would think as 3 angelic beings of some sort that we probably give these guys some sort of burial. I was going to sacrifice them to the fucking Great One, but that's not very angelic. But it's more warlocky.
The interesting thing though, is the difference between you and them is that your soul. So when a mortal dies, their soul is wiped clean of all thought and memory, right? The only things that remain are your karma, the things that you did in life that weigh your soul down or uplift your soul into the great cycle of being. When you're reincarnated, be it as a human or as a dog or a rat or whatever, you don't remember anything of your previous life. Now that's not the case for y'all. When you die, you carry that forward. You carry all your experiences and memories, and you may not be able to access them, but they're still there. You're still a wholly formed thing. You just get to add more complexity and layers to it as you reincarnate. You are better than humans in that regard.
Okay.
So whether that colors your view of them, it could engender pity. It could also be like, look at these gross humans. Who cares? It depends on the individual Tianqi. So whatever feels appropriate for you as a character. But you can talk about that.
Yeah,
I
I think as we're looting them. Yeah, I think as we're maybe you who I'm definitely looting them. Are you guys helping me? Because you guys are both hurt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say we're definitely looting quickly.
Okay. As we're collectively looting, I turn to the rest and say, "What should we do with their bodies?"
It looks like they already dug us some graves down to the south. We could throw them in there.
I care not what happens to them. They decided to live their lives evil and vile, so let them rot as far as I care.
Well, perhaps we'll move them to the graves. I throw one over my shoulder, start moving them down. I don't dig if we scroll down. I don't dig a new grave, so someone's sharing. But yeah, we'll put them in these graves down here.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the graves have bodies in them already. And they're maybe not quite as skeletal as you see them here. They're several days rotted and sort of picked at by scavengers. Obviously dead of violent end. And they're just dressed as merchants or travelers. Obviously nothing of value left on them. But you can use these three graves, these shallow graves, and pile the bodies into them and cover them over if you want. It'll be three to a grave at that point.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you wanna search their bodies first before you
Yeah.
dump them? Okay. So let's see. There are five bandits. So if whoever is the treasurer would like to get ready, I will tell you what the bandits have.
I'll be the treasurer, I guess.
Okay.
Ready?
So you find 3 platinum pieces, 7 electrum pieces,
Okay.
15 pieces of silver,
Okay.
16 copper,
All right.
and then another 15 silver. So
All
all
right,
kind
so
of mixed
30.
up in various space. Yeah. And then the leader of the bandits,
Ooh.
you find on her. You find another. Let's see here. Another 22 gold.
All right. Do you guys want me to just keep this all tallied on my character? And then
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
fine.
That's okay.
All right, cool. Doing that then.
Okay. Yeah, and you find coins of mostly court of coin make, mostly minted in the capital, as most coins are, and a few still with blood in their grooves, evidence of ill-gotten origins.
Okay.
But otherwise, yeah, they just have run-of-the-mill kind of average weapons on them.
And then Adam, as we're bearing, just a quick question: what would appease the great old one in terms of a bodily sacrifice?
Well, I mean, human sacrifice tends to be the living captured and sacrificed helplessly for the cause.
Is there anything that would perhaps deliver these to him if I was to signify that on the body or the corpse or something like that?
No, the great power you serve and its kin care not for the human soul. They're above and beyond all of that. It has to be like a sacrifice isn't just murdering a random person. It has to be meaningful in some way to you. Like it has to be a sacrifice, which is why like the sacrifice of the chicken wasn't about the life of the chicken. It was about you giving up the money that it cost to buy the chicken. It was like you sacrificed your comfort for that sake. These powers beyond the human life is below notice to them.
So it's nice to know that really when I decided to, separate myself from the killing of the chicken and the sacrificing of its blood. It's really the more buying of the chicken, the part that I was involved in. It's Voltnak.
It was
that really matters to the dark gods.
It was the sacrifice of the money, right? It was like you could use that money for yourself, or you could give it up by way of the chicken and then sacrifice it. You've basically thrown. It's like throwing the money out, really.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Then we throw the corpses in, and I have a path where we're going. Right. I know a spot where we're going.
Yeah, you have a general like compass direction.
Yeah.
You don't have a map of the region or anything, but you feel a pull towards darkness.
Okay.
And we definitely need to take a short rest because we need to heal back up.
Yeah, I mean it's early enough in the day. Do you take a short rest
Yeah,
now?
you definitely got to rest because I'm fucked
Wrestling?
up.
Yeah, I have like 4 HP.
Yeah. Maybe we'll take a short rest next to the bodies, next to the graves or something.
That sounds like a pleasant place to hang out while you rest.
Look,
Let's just
I'm
camp.
happy with it.
Inside the grave on the bodies.
Yeah, just climb
Just
in
lay
there.
on them. Yeah.
Just
Get real
curl
close.
up.
You ain't got beds around here. You got
Yeah.
squishy bodies that aren't gross yet.
Yeah.
It's a little corpse snuggling. Okay, well that's fine. What do you do while you rest? Do you have an hour in the wilderness? Do you like play cards? Do you just sit quietly? Does someone play the ukulele? Like what? How do you pass that resting time?
Does Volnak play an instrument? No, he just paints, right? That's what he does.
Yeah. Yeah. He paints.
No, I think Volnak is painting. Maybe it shows some sort of scene of like a chicken scurrying away. Like,
Yeah, I mean this isn't exactly a scenic like you want to paint the mass grave. You've just dumped all the
yeah, it's less that he's like. I guess he's like I said, he mainly paints to like kind of unwind and go through what has happened throughout his day and whatever. Not that not every painting or whatever is like super impactful. So this one's more, it feels more to him like he's just kind of killing time and, just going over the day's events, maybe painting himself, going down and coming back up triumphantly. Who knows?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Something maybe a little more abstract than like
Yeah, exactly. A little more abstract, a little more just like, I'm painting to paint right now.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what he's doing.
All right, cool. Azrael and Reziel, what do you do when you rest?
I would say that I'm against a tree, just meditating to the fountain, just becoming one with myself and just peacefully being around the nature and just listening, and just closing my mind and just resting.
Cool. Yeah. All right. So you're meditating, sort of focused inward. And then Reziel, what about you?
I think I'm just focusing on the power or the compass, basically, as you said, that was leading us to this spot where we're supposed to be going, and trying to get a sense of what it is we're going to be in contact with, what it is we're going to do, what it is we're going towards in a spiritual manner, basically.
Yeah. So it's quiet then, just the sound of the wind blowing through the trees, the occasional sort of scraping sound of horsehair on canvas. And then the buzzing of the flies that come to feed on these dead bodies after an hour. You can all spend as many hit dice as you'd like to spend. You recover anything that recovers on a short rest. Okay, so Azrael, you get 9 hit points back.
You want to do a second die? Yeah, there. Oh man, that second one.
Ooh, that's a bad one.
All right.
We get 2 hit die, is that what it is?
You get
You
3
can spend as many. You have 3 total.
up to 3.
Yeah, as few or as many as you like.
3. I just click hit dice, don't I?
Yep.
Mhm.
Go first one. Hop. Nice.
So
I'm gonna
you
do
know
another one.
Sure.
Hat.
Not
Nice.
bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you at full yet?
Could do another one. Don't you get your hit dice back after a long rest?
Oh my god.
Yeah, you get them back after a long rest. Yeah.
I think it's worth it to do another one, considering I was at 3. So I got 16 right now. Well, plus the 3, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, let's do one more, just to see. At 19, do one more. All right, one more out of that.
All right. And then Raziel, you're at full, so you don't need
You
to
should be at 23
I'm a full.
HP now. Definitely worth.
All right. Yeah. So an hour passes. The sun moves slowly through the sky, and then the bodies start to smell, and it's time to go.
Yep.
So you head
How
off.
we wake up.
following Raziel's dark compass forward.
I also still have the hawk about 80 feet, 70 feet up in the air for us.
Yeah, just keeping an eye on shit.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
What about it's a short rest, obviously, right?
Yeah,
we
that's
just
a short
did. So do I get my key back or no? Probably not.
I don't know when key recovers. Let me take a look.
I can't remember. I used to play a monk on Pathfinder, but I can't remember if you got it back on a short rest or long.
Short or long rest. Yep.
Nice.
Short
You
or
got it
long.
back, yeah.
Sick. I was gonna say that would kind of suck if you didn't have the key back.
You got all your key points back on a short
Yep.
rest.
Fucking awesome.
Okay. Cool. All right. So you bundle up your not quite finished painting and head out. So I think several hours pass. It's late afternoon, and it's I don't know, what is it like for Volnak and Azrael? Like Raziel, you generally know the direction that you have to go, and every once in a while you have to stop and we have to go this way, and you like take a random turn. You leave the road and are kind of like out in the wilderness, just like traipsing through this like these bamboo forests and stuff. But what is it like for Azrael and Volnak, right? Like you have this person in your midst who is a like legit like dark magician, trucking with ancient powers that are forbidden to your kind, and he's like leading you God's know where. Is that like tense for the two of you, or are you just kind of like, what's that like? Tell me a little bit about how your characters are feeling in that situation.
I think periodically Volnak keeps like as they trudge along and as they go, like he just keeps shooting his eyes over to Raziel and Raziel.
I think is how I said Raziel, yeah.
I think that's what
I
was
might
trying
change
to
the
remember.
spelling of it to reflect that, because the spelling right now would probably just read Raziel.
Yeah, and I keep looking at him and Azrael, and it's very kind of just like seeing Azrael where his mood's at and reacting, but he himself is internally like he's frustrated. He doesn't know exactly where we're going, and trying to constantly like keep himself in check, realizing that it's for the greater good, and that there's a higher power that dictates that this is what he needs to do. So he's kind of his mood right now is a little tense and fidgety.
For Azrael, being out in the wilderness is not anything new to him. He's hermitage. He travels alone a lot, often through forests and stuff. So being in the woods doesn't bother him in the least. What does bother him is the source that's leading him. He's in a constant mental struggle because as a paladin, he's supposed to be smiting down this evil that's in front of him, but at the same time, he's being willed by the fountain to protect this person. So it's a conflict, and he's constantly just like talking to Balder like about his struggle, like, no, I can't strike him down. I want to, but I can't.
No magic sword, we mustn't kill them.
No.
Okay.
I was ordered by the fountain. You know this.
Awesome. Okay, so I think after a few hours, you find yourselves coming through. Actually, I need Volnak and Raziel. You're focused. You're focused on being the one that's like leading everybody. I need Volnak and Azrael to make nature checks, please. Also, you get experience for your short rest. I wrote it down, but I didn't want to forget it. Everybody gets 192.
192, cool.
192.
We're rolling for.
Yeah, roll a nature check for me. I want to.
192 and then nature check. Do that real quick.
Does Max have to decide now if that XP goes towards this character or towards...
No. Anything that's banked on Volnak, we can transfer if he wants to switch to Berg when we get there.
Cool.
Lovely 7.
Okay, 7 for Azrael.
I'll get mine in a second. Just not.
I'm distracted by my own inner thoughts.
Yeah.
Let me roll this for you. Nature check. Move.
12. Okay. All right. So I think Volnak, maybe you notice that like this valley is quite like busy with life, right? Like the forest here is still mostly pretty primeval, right? These thick bamboo forests, and you previous, you had spotted, like deer out amidst the forest, raccoons, birds of all sorts. But now the only bird you can hear is the occasional sort of wet flapping of the hawk above you, and you realize you're like, oh, you haven't seen any sign of animals in over an hour or so. And it just kind of occurs to you, right? Like you didn't notice when it happened, but you're like, oh yeah, it's been a little while. And I think that when you notice that, we see you kind of have that revelation. You're like looking around, and you notice there are little blue kind of like fungal like spores, kind of just like drifting in the air, getting caught in the waning sun of the day's light.
Does anything seem a bit odd to you guys here?
What? What do you mean?
What was that?
Look around you. You notice anything different?
I kind of swirl around. Do I start to notice this stuff?
I mean, you don't. It's hard to notice the absence of a thing unless Volnak specifically is like, I haven't seen an animal in a while.
Yeah, I'm kind of just leading them to see if anyone else has noticed.
Yeah, you do notice the little floating bits in the air.
Well, if you're talking about the spores, yes, I do see them.
Do you have any idea what those are?
Not a clue.
I haven't seen anything like this in my travels. Is it
Also
magic?
noticed- Listen, the forest is rather quiet, don't you think? Only seen birds and hawks. Nothing really bustling like there usually is. Forest seems a lot more dead and quiet than usual. This must be a good sign then, right, Raziel?
That usually means danger.
Nope.
If animals are being quiet.
Does mean danger. It's not good. But it's only natural. We are headed towards a very dark place. Kind of just looking about. I've stopped, basically.
That's what I'm saying. We must be on the right track.
Perhaps that's one way to take it, yes.
All right. I just wanted to let you guys know, make you be aware. I don't know what these blue fungal spore things are, and I'm a little concerned.
Azrael, I want to take a look around and see if I notice anything out of the ordinary, just as a brief glance around the environment.
Yeah, make an investigation check.
Okay. Let's see. 4.
4.
Great rolls today.
Hell yeah, man!
So investigative.
Nice.
I mean, there's bamboo. It's growing out of the ground. The sun is shining. You're standing on the earth.
Azrael, what do you see?
Dirty.
It's hot out here. That's all I really know right now. It is hot in this armor.
My eyes like dart to the side of my... look towards... Yes, it is quite hot. It's not very informative.
There's a lot of stuff around. Very jungly.
Very astute observation.
Yeah, as I notice him like not actually say anything of worth, can I make an investigation check as well?
Yeah, as you realize that you're maybe not going to get that much information out of his observations.
Well, 10.
Oh, much better.
I mean, comparatively, yeah.
The sky is blue. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You're deep in an old forest that's quite overgrown. You've got plant burrs stuck to your cloak. You can feel the like new layers of sweat on top of the stale sweat you already had all over you from like hiking for a day. I think maybe just pausing to look around just makes you feel weary. You're just like, ugh, God, like it's a hard slog. It's a deep hike that you have to go on.
I respond. It is quite hot. I did not notice that before, but
And jungly. Do you see all this jungle around us?
quite jungly indeed. Did not notice that. Volnak, how about you? Do you wish to investigate? I'm just like,
No.
This time I'm just circling around as if I don't see anything of value.
No, I don't, and I'm starting to worry that these spores are affecting your mental capacity. Let's move forward.
Maybe.
So Volnak, you rolled investigation. What does that look like for you? Are you like looking for anything in particular, or are you just like why? Explain to me why you made that roll so that I can.
Further looking at the spores, I guess without getting closer, trying to like I don't know, inhale them. How big are these spores? Like, are they like?
They're like.
Do they look more like like pollen or like some sort of dust and whatever in the or is it like actual?
They vary in size. Consider them like snowflakes. You can see them in the air,
Yeah.
but they're not as prevalent, and they don't just immediately fall down. They're kind of getting caught in the ambient heat and being lifted and kind of floating around up above you. And occasionally they'll sort of drift down to where you are. You're not getting like covered in them, but they are settling on your shoulders and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like
Well, I'm basically looking
tiny.
to see, maybe investigate the spores a little bit more, see if he can unlock any sort of memory in his past, or draw upon something that might give him an idea of what those are, and also to see just if anything is indeed lurking in the immediate area, just because it is getting very, very quiet. So he's trying to hone his senses and see if anything's perhaps like he hears anything when paying attention to it.
Yeah. Well, that 12 nature check stands, right? So you're not going to get any more information about the spores necessarily. You've definitely never
Unless
seen
they're not natural, Adam.
They are.
Okay.
Perhaps if we had a bird's eye view.
The I will give you before you kind of progress onward. I will give you the 14 for investigation. You do notice something. So as you're like looking around, at the base of a cluster of bamboo trees, partly like submerged in the sort of loamy ground below it, you find there's it's like a little stone like statue, like a carved stone statue. It's covered in like moss and stuff. You wouldn't have really noticed it aside from like, because it looks just like a boulder or whatever rock. But then you notice like, no, that there's something different about it, and it's been placed there on purpose. You'd have to like pull it out and like clean it off to get a better look at it. But around it, and it doesn't look like, because it's still covered in like moss and dirt, it looks like these footprints that you notice like go past it. So it's like the thing grabs your attention, and then you notice that there are footprints near it. There are about, I think, like about a half dozen at a glance, a half dozen heavy footprints, unshod, so not boots. They're basically like large human footprints, but the toes are there's marks for claws at the end of the toes. And the people who made these footprints, they have like a much higher arch to their foot than a human probably would, so like quite deep on the front of their toes, and they're heavy. Like they'd have to be either wearing something heavy, carrying something heavy, or quite large, because the footprints are quite deep. You notice that they're also accompanied by some kind of like animal footprints. They're like hooves, just some like hoofed footprints, like a sheep or a goat, something like that. And big though, like plate size, not like little.
Like war goats.
And they go kind of across. Like if you're going this way, they cross your path and then kind of head off into the forest.
Yeah, I guess I remarked to the others like, "Look there! I just noticed it, but do you see that over there? It looks like a statue of some sort."
I see more jungle. What do you? I kind of like look. What do you exactly?
Oh no, you idiot! Look over here. I'm like walking, like motion towards here.
Yeah. So there's this like statue, this little stone carving. You'd have to like get down there and like clear it off and like, try to pick it up or something to get a better look at it. But
does it look to be like religious in nature of any?
Right now, it's covered in dirt and moss, so it's hard to say. It's vaguely like sort of tall shaped, like kind of maybe like a little bit mushroom shaped. It's hard to see from here.
I would like to look at the tracks to see if I can tell what kind of creature made it.
Okay. Yeah. Make a what do you use for tracking? It's survival, right?
I think so.
Survival. Let's take a look. Yeah. Survival.
19.
Nice. Okay. So you recognize the tracks, and then we can talk about whether you've actually seen these things before. So these are the tracks of orcs. Orcs are an ancient race. Some say they predate humans in this world. They're generally considered to be violent. Occasionally, if you breed them with humans, they can breed servile stock that are useful for like, building things and rowing ships. But purebred orcs are vicious and terrible. And I don't know. Have you ever encountered an orc before?
Yes, I've back many years ago. I came across an orc, and it was actually injured. It was caught in a trap, and like its clan just thought it weak and left it there.
Right.
I actually helped it free, but it was unconscious. But then I walked away as soon as I made sure it was alive, and I left it there. I never actually spoke with it, but I left this orc alive on the road.
Right. And so why did you do that when like most people consider orcs to be monsters, like vermin?
For me, like if a creature isn't actively trying to attack me, like if it hasn't inflicted me harm, then I have no reason to cause harm to it. And I value life, and I decided to spare it. And because it wasn't up to me to judge this creature without having any sort of animosity towards it yet.
Sure. Yeah. So maybe you recognize these tracks from the thing, like before it passed out, before it fell unconscious, it like dragged the trap for a while. And you remember it's one good foot, like leaving these kinds of prints. Yeah. Cool. So that's definitely a thing. If you don't have inspiration yet, go ahead and mark it.
Okay. This is definitely an orc footprint. These things are not known for being very friendly. I suggest we go at great caution. We do not want to alert them to our presence.
I think I'm like leaning down as he's saying this and almost ignoring what he's saying as I start to reach for the little statue. Mm-hmm. I wipe away some of the dirt and reach for it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, we should ignore them for now. I pull the statue towards me.
Yeah, so the statue is it's a bit odd. You clear it off. It's a roughly carved, like if you've ever seen like in real life pictures of like prehistoric statuary, it's like obviously carved by people who are not like modernly skilled in making rock look like things. Right. The best you can, and it's going to be a little hard for me to describe this, but the best you can envision the thing, it's like looking at a child's painting. You're trying to kind of guess what it's supposed to be. So there's like a squarish block at the bottom with some like round shapes. It kind of looks like a wagon or a cart. And then emerging from the top of the cart is a long kind of like mushroom shape. It's old and kind of worn down, but there's something like unsettling about it. Like when you pick it up, you feel a strange kind of like chill. And you have the urge to put it back down.
I'd put it back down pretty quickly, but would it be like what type of check would I be to understand if I know what this is? History, religion?
Religion, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Say DC 15.
15.
Woo. Okay. All right. Yeah. So it's the mushroom shape is actually a phallus. It's supposed to represent a wagon, like a wagon cart or a chariot, like a war chariot. And then a human phallus emerges from it. It's the symbol of a very old Mara cult. This particular Mara, it's an unnamed kind of ancient one, is supposed to grant like inhuman virility, strength and stamina to those who give it worship. So this is like a shrine object to that creature.
Okay. I speak up and say, well, I've got worse news. You know that word I said not to say, Volnak? This statue here represents that. So that's good. And I kind of step away. That's good. We should hurry along.
How does that statue feel in your hands?
It did not feel good. I will say that much.
Yeah, now remember the statue, this little idol, it's been sitting here for a long time, long enough for, moss to grow on it. And on the ground where you picked it up, there's a bunch of like little, like smaller mushrooms that have grown up in the like loam around it. It doesn't look like it was actively like paid homage to any time.
Now, when you say mushrooms.
Yeah, like little like white fungus mushrooms.
Okay.
I mean, if they left offerings for it, they might be like buried a few inches under the dirt here if you wanted to dig it up. But
I don't want to touch any of the Mara infused offerings. Would I know what goes into destroying something like this, and if that's worthwhile, or if it's going to give me ill will, if it's going to be...
I mean, the Mara are unpredictable.
I've been around. I've studied them enough to be kicked out of heaven for studying and messing with them.
Yeah, for messing with dark power. I think destroying it, the best thing that's going to happen if you destroy it is that it won't exist anymore. Like, no one will be able to use it to make offerings to this particular Mara. That'll be the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, it's the one time where this creature was paying attention and is like, hey, that belonged to me, and then takes particular interest in you. And having a Mara of virility pay attention to you is going to be inconvenient at the best.
Right. So I speak up and say, we could destroy it, or we could not. It's up to you. I do not take these things lightly. And I kind of step back.
I'm not familiar with dark magic. What would be the repercussions of doing such a thing?
Well, this is for an idol of one of them. Perhaps he takes an interest in you for destroying an offering of his. Or perhaps he doesn't, and we destroy it and no one makes an offering to it ever again. I don't believe I'll take an action, though. I will leave it to you two.
I say for our own safety, we should probably leave it to where we found it for now. But note where it is.
Perhaps when we return.
Myself. Perhaps hide it a little more than it already was.
That seems adequate. I go and grab some branches and start scraping dirt towards it. Put the branches over and try to hide as best as possible.
Just kind of hide it away. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
So you're burying the phallic statue?
I wouldn't say burying. I'm covering it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
And then I turn and say, shall we be going? I don't like this place. I'm kind of staring around, making sure we're not being watched.
Yes, we should probably head away from these tracks as fast as we can. Again, orcs are not known to be friendly, and they're very territorial.
I'm surprised you don't like this place. Rather, the fact that it's teeming with darkness should really excite you, I would think.
Well, there are some things I like in the darkness, but this is not one of them.
Raziel likes it with the lights on.
Yeah. We just start
Lead
walking
on.
away.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. All right, yeah.
I want to take like a visual note of where this place is, just for future reference.
Right, if you need to find your way back to it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
You can use your bird to see if you can spot them from, high in the sky.
The orcs, that is?
Yeah, see if you see them anywhere around us.
Yeah, the second he says that, my eyes gloss over. Would that be a perception check? I think I also get... Did you make... Oh, I was looking at the character, or the player's handbook. I think Hawks get advantage on maybe just wisdom. If you're in their eyes, would I benefit from that, Adam?
Hawks have advantage on perception checks that rely on sight. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's reasonable.
Great. I will make a perception check then.
Yeah, go for it.
Is it just a flat D20, or do I roll with his perception?
I think when you see through its eyes, it's your perception. We'll give you his advantage. That
Okay.
makes sense.
19.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. I don't think you see. You don't see the orcs. You don't see really anything because there's so much like bamboo cover. And actually, this is a great shot to like kind of end on. So we see everything from above. We see the misty forest. Somewhere off in the distance, kind of the directions of the tracks. There's dark smoke kind of rising up from the woods. But maybe more importantly, as we kind of pan across the direction you're heading in, we see the lip of a deep crater. And that's like right near where you are in the direction that you're all headed. There's this perfectly circular kind of bowl-shaped crater in the middle of the woods that you're on your way towards. That's the shot. Yeah, it's a shot before we go to break.
Great.
Fuck.
Well, I mean, that's where we need to go. That's perfectly fine. That's where we're headed.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Let's take our first break. We'll come back, go to hour 2 right after this. Don't go anywhere. More Quarter Swords coming up. We'll see you then.